Man, I was just thinking about, as you were talking about that, what business is able to do for us as men. We talk on the podcast about the roles, the important roles of a father, specifically a father. Any man really is to preside, provide, and protect.
Yep.
But I was thinking about what you've been talking about is being basically the ultimate provider as far as financially. But once you can do that and have that in a way where it's like passive enough to where you can only spend 20 minutes on a business every day, it really does allow you to focus on the other two, where you're presiding and you're protecting and you're teaching your kids these principles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's super powerful. And I think that adds more motivation and more perspective to how important it is to broaden our mindset when it comes to finances and how we can kind of jumpstart our way to being better presiders and protectors if we can get this provide section down a little bit. Because usually I feel like as men, when we can't get the provide thing down, it's a pretty big hurdle for us to try and get over.
Yeah, it puts a lot of limitations on what you can do, a lot of them. And I think that a lot of times we think that provide equals time, and it's not the case.
Yeah.
Being able to provide equals how much value you can give to other people. And if you can find out a way that you can add value to people, then the time is gonna, and it's just gonna, even itself out. And so how do you as an individual add value to other people? What skills do you possess? What do you feel like you're good at? How do you launch a business in that specific field? And then how do you automate it so that way you don't get owned by the business?
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, like it's been the best thing. And I think that's the ultimate goal for a lot of people, to get to the place that I'm at. And I'm so thankful that, I got lucky enough to be in this position. And then, now it's just like helping people get to that stage as well too, which a lot of people think it's difficult. It's not that difficult. It does take a lot of, going back to what you said, like, hey, I don't want to offload this job, especially as men. It's like, you kind of have to, like you have to know how to delegate. If you look at the best people of all time, the best kings, they all knew how to delegate and delegate well. And so if you can delegate and you can have people that you have taught to do a specific job in a way that is acceptable to you, you'll go leaps and bounds above anyone else. So
yeah, we talked a little bit about how you learned from your dad some of the mistakes that you didn't want to bring into your business and your lifestyle. But what is a mistake that you can think of, maybe a big one that you learned the biggest lesson from, that you took away from in your journey through business?
I've had a lot of them. I've had a ton of them. One of the biggest ones was when I launched my company out of college. It was a clothing company. It's like a custom uniform company. I wanted to do all the designs myself. And it was the biggest time, like, consuming activity of my life. Like, I was up till like 2 a.m. doing designs for teams.
Was that more because of the creative side of you, where you just wanted to be the creative?
Yeah. One, it was ego. Like, I was like, oh, I'm going to make, it's me. I feel like I'm the best at it. And two, it was like, I was too cheap to pay someone to do it. And finally, like, I gave up, like, between 25 to 29, I gave up that whole time. Like, it was just like, I got hella fat. I ballooned and like, just like didn't sleep at all, and like just focused my whole life on my business. And because of that, like my life went on a downhill, like, fast. And it wasn't until I was like, oh shoot, like maybe I can like pay people to do this, that and like buy back some of my time, that I was actually able to get good sleep at night and to like focus on the business instead of being in the business at all times. And so, just being able to offload those tasks instead of thinking, oh, I have a business and it's my job, instead of I have a business and it's my job to manage people, it goes a long way.
Yeah. I love that. I love that perspective.
But I think, like, to add to that, like, the physical aspect of it, being a man, you have to be physically fit. Like, you have to. Like, it's a non-negotiable in my book now. And looking back to like when I let myself go, like playing ball in college, and then like, you have to eat so much to like maintain, and then when you get out of school, like the activity level goes down, but the eating level stays up, and it's easy to put on the pounds, and especially like if you have a business and you're just like sitting all day, like, man, it's one of those things that's like, if you do not have as a man, the physical side of things, all aspects of your life will take a decline, including relationships with your family, wife, with yourself. And I think a lot of it is keeping commitments to yourself, because you always say, oh, I'm going to stop. I'm going to lose this weight. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And basically, when you don't keep those commitments to yourself, you begin to doubt yourself and to not believe yourself. And over time, you think, oh, I'm a failure. So it just goes back to small wins again, too.
Small wins.
Just making those small wins.
Yep.
Like,
That's almost like it's like a principle that really covers all different aspects of your life, whether it be physical, spiritual, business, home, family, whatever the case may be. Small wins.
Just small wins. And it doesn't have to be like, oh, I made this much money. It's, did you get out of bed today? Did you go on a walk today? Did you, not like, if you eat like 10 cupcakes, did you eat 9 today? It's like those small wins that add up over time. Yeah. And that's all that it is, just a bunch of small wins.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of times men specifically, I mean, this is everyone, I think it's just human nature, is it's easier for us to focus on the negatives than it is the positives. And I feel like that's by design. I think there is a effort that we have to put forth in order to refocus on what's positive rather than what's negative. Yep. And I think that has everything to do with the abundance mindset.
Yeah. Well, Jocko Willink, I think that's how you say his last name. He always says that when bad things happen, he says good, because it's going to teach him something. And I've attempted to adopt that in my life a handful of times, and I feel like it's been a good thing. Yeah. But then also like just laughing at the situation too, like, like obviously, losing money is tough, and having a setback in business is tough, but just like laughing about it. And like, I'll give you an example. I had an employee, she lost me like $5,000 on a deal because of a mistake that she made. And we got on the phone, I talked about it, and I said, what happened? She's like, I just made this mistake, and she's bawling, and she's like, I feel so bad, and
Don't tell me you just laughed at her.
Well, no, I was just like, I was just kind of like, just letting the moment sink in. And I was like, at the end of it, I was like, well, how's your family doing? Like, how's your kids? Like, how's life? She's like, yeah, it's okay. And she was still like kind of sobbing a little bit. I was like, yeah, like no one died. It's fine. Yeah. Money comes and goes. Like, you'll be okay. Yeah. Like it's one of those things, like sometimes you gotta laugh at the situation. Like, oh, that was a dumb mistake. Let's not do that again, Yeah. So
I know for me and my wife, whenever we talk, my Jocko Willing version of that quote is just, what now? Yeah. Like, so what? Yeah. Right? What are you going to do now? Like, we can't just sit here and, we can either sit here and be negative, or we can sit here and be positive and try and figure out a solution.
Yeah, I think that's what makes a good man, is someone who's willing to accept the situation that's happened and think, what can I do now to elevate that situation? So, dude, you hit it on the head with that one. 'Cause, yeah.